In 2006, Lance Armstrong ran the New York City Marathon in 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 36 seconds. That's respectable for most people, but this was Lance Armstrong, the world's leading cyclist who had conquered alpine mountain stages with one of the highest VO2 max levels ever recorded. After crossing the finish line, he said that marathon was, without a doubt, the hardest physical thing he had ever done. Think about that. A man at the absolute pinnacle of endurance athletics found running 26.2 miles harder than anything he'd experienced in professional cycling. His performance age-graded as regional class. World-class cyclist, regional class marathoner. Why? Well, it's because fitness doesn't automatically transfer between activities, even when those activities seem similar. A marathon runner attempting the Tour de France would say the same thing he did. Cycling and running are both aerobic, both lower body dominant, both require suffering through fatigue, but they're not the same. Your body adapts to what you train it for. What does this mean for hiking? Your cardiovascular fitness from running, interval workouts, cycling, whatever, does help some. It's a foundation, but it's not enough. The trail makes specific demands that other activities don't prepare you for. Pack weight, uneven terrain, balance requirements, eccentric loading on descents that tear up your quads, hours of sustained effort at elevation, these are all trail challenges. Imagine we're back in the days before GPS when all we had were paper maps. You're on the trail, you pull out your map, and the first thing you have to do is figure out where you are on that map. You can't plot a route to your destination without knowing your starting point. Training for a big hike works exactly the same way. You need to understand where you are right now, not where you wish you were, not where you used to be, where you actually are today. A decade ago, I brought a runner in his mid-60s, very fit and solid cardiovascular shape, on a hike. He wanted to hike the entire long trail in Vermont, all 270 miles. I talked him down to 90 miles. That seemed reasonable compared to 270, but it wasn't reasonable compared to zero hiking experience. We fell victim to anchoring, a psychological condition where the first number we hear becomes a baseline of sorts. We didn't do any training or shakedown hikes to see where he was on the map. His pack was too heavy. He figured if he could carry it on bike paths, he'd be fine on the trail. The daily mileage we planned had no basis in reality. All these things weren't a problem for me because I knew where I was on the map. I had years of trail experience. I failed as a leader because I didn't help him figure out where he was on the map before we decided to try this. He twisted his ankle on the approach trail and made it 7 more miles before having to stop. The trip was over before it really began. Not because he lacked heart or determination, but because we failed to properly assess where he was starting from and build up appropriately. The principle is the same. Cycling is not running, running is not hiking. I'm not saying don't bother with those other things, they do help, but they're not enough. The next time I brought someone hiking, I did better. My niece was fit from her landscaping business, but we didn't assume that translated to hiking fitness. We started with several single-day hikes. Then we hiked Mount Monadnock with full packs, but stayed overnight at a campground at the base. She got to feel what it's like to set up a tent, cook a meal at camp, and carry weight up a steep mountain without committing to sleeping on the trail. Only after all that preparation do we try a full overnighter, a 20-mile loop in the Green Mountains with full packs. It was still hard, but she made it with no problem. She even carried out a bunch of trash we found in the bear box, left there by less conscientious hikers. Let's say you're planning a long hike, maybe the entire Appalachian Trail, maybe something shorter. Here's how I'd approach it. Figure out where you are on the metaphorical map right now. My longtime friend Mike has a saying, the trail gets you in shape for the trail. That sounds like a chicken and egg problem. How do you get on the trail if you're not ready for the trail? Well, you have to assume that the first time you go out on the trail, you're not ready. The first hike has to be manageable. A short excursion, 3 miles, 5 miles, something you can handle even though you're not trail conditioned yet. Load up a day pack with 15 to 20 pounds. That's your baseline test hike. Take notes. Are you comfortable? Are you struggling? How's your breathing on the uphills? How do your knees feel on the downhills? How's your balance on uneven terrain? Can you maintain a steady pace or are you stopping frequently? Pay attention the next day. Are you sore? A little soreness is normal. Significant joint pain or persistent soreness means you pushed too hard or you found a weak point that needs addressing. That test hike tells you where you are. Maybe you handled 5 miles with 15 pounds easily. Maybe 3 miles with 10 pounds is tough. At least you know. Be honest with yourself. This is your starting point on the map. Build progressively. If you can comfortably do 5 miles with a light pack, don't jump to 15 miles with a heavy pack. Add distance gradually. Add pack weight gradually. Add elevation gain gradually. Start with day hikes, then single overnights, then weekend trips, then section hikes. The trail gets you in shape for the trail, but you need a foundation first. Hiking has other aspects we shouldn't forget. It's not just exercise, it's a whole set of skills like dealing with bad weather, setting up camp if that's what you're doing, deciding when to stop each day. It's developing a trail routine. You're out there to learn what hiking feels like, what your pack feels like, how your body responds. Each trail experience prepares you for the next one. Your first hike should not be a 2,000-mile through hike. It should be something that teaches you what you need to know for the next step. Cardio at the gym helps, but it's not enough. Stair climbers help, but they're not the same as hiking downhill with a loaded pack. Get on actual trails, walk on uneven surfaces, carry a pack with realistic weight. Your ankles, your stabilizer muscles, your balance systems all need trail time to adapt. Bike paths along old railroad beds don't count. Do shakedown hikes. Learn how to use your gear effectively. Test your pack weight. Test your daily mileage targets. Find out what works and what doesn't before you're committed to a long-distance trail. Discover now if your boots give you blisters, not 50 miles into a long hike. Find out if your pack is too heavy now, not when you're exhausted and still have miles to go. Listen to your body. If something hurts, address it. Don't push through joint pain or persistent soreness. At our age, recovery takes longer. Injuries that wouldn't have mattered in our 20s can end a trip in our 60s. Rest days aren't weakness, they're part of the training plan. While workouts don't fully prepare us for hiking, they certainly help. Next week, I'll go over what I do to keep in shape when I'm not hiking. The trail will get you in shape for the trail, but you will need to arrive at the trailhead with a foundation that's ready to build on. If you found this information useful, please like, share, subscribe, and comment on this or other topics you'd like me to cover. And if you haven't seen this video, I recommend you take a look at it now. Thanks for watching.